Hello everyone, Michael Lee Parker here for another YouTube session. Have you ever been guilty of letting opportunity pass you by? We're going to talk today about something extremely important, and that is the power of Carpe Diem. It means to seize the day, to seize the moment. And there's an issue we all have in allowing opportunity to just go by us and to just move without us. And we think about times that we wish we would have taken action. We wish we would have done what we should have done. We wish we would have taken advantage of what was in front of us. Well, today, we're going to talk about some of the things we have to consider for us to grow and excel as leaders. And whether you are an entrepreneur, a professional, or just a success-minded individual, we all have to be conscious of the fact that we have to see what is in front of us and know how to take advantage of those opportunities. Now, something that's really happening today that I want you to be aware of is something very, very critical. Now, in the age of watching how technology has grown, just in the time that I've lived, I've seen so many changes, and we've seen from, the transition, just even looking at how we receive information, such as the olden days of, the radio, and then the boombox and the Walkman, and then all the way getting to the time period of, there was the 8-track and cassettes, and then, all the things that we got into that then led to media being downloaded today, and MP3 and all of this streaming. All of this advancement in how we receive information. When we look at entertainment, we can go back to the newspaper and the radio, onto the television, and then here comes the internet and all the things we have today with social media, be it Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So many ways to now consume entertainment, such as movies and shows, on demand, on our phone, on our laptops, on our televisions. We are surrounded by distraction. So I want you to be aware that we are actually surrounded by distraction. We've become comfortable wasting time. Let me say that one more time. We've become comfortable wasting time. It's become a way of life. It's become something you just do. It's common to allow to binge a bunch of shows that you might want to see. It's common to just scroll your phone for 2 hours, right? We've become comfortable wasting time. So we have to think about, how has this impacted us? How has this trained and wired us to begin to think in a way that could be damaging to our success? We have to really begin to account for that and understand what has this done to us as we begin to consider how we've really begin to be conditioned. Now, I want you to go to my whiteboard here for a minute. Something I want you to keep in mind is that everything has an end, right? And that's including our time here on the planet. So we have to keep in mind that every single thing has an end. Now, because of this word end, it is a game changer to us understanding how we should approach things when we think about life and we think about the things that are in front of us. Because of this word end, we have to care about what we do. Every single thing has an end. Every job has an end. Every entrepreneurship journey has an end. There's an end to all that we do in life. And when we understand that there's an end, it makes us more conscious of making sure we get everything out of that experience that we are able to. And I want you to think about that for a minute. We think about your life and different phases of your life. Time that has passed away with people that you love, that you cared about, situations that you went through. Now, keep in mind, when we think about end, there are some things that, we're glad it ended, right? Sometimes we're glad, and some things we wish never ended. And literally, many times we can't fully control that. But then there are some things we can control. So I want you to understand there is a controlled end And then there is a uncontrolled end. And we need to be aware of both of these. Now, the controlled end, we want to make sure we understand how to control the ending of things that are not prospering our life, that are not pushing our life forward, that are not advancing our mission to grow as a professional, as an entrepreneur, as a leader. If it's not allowing us to do that, it's something that's hurting our makeup, it's hurting who we are, it's hurting what we want to become. We have to have a controlled end, a decided end, right? So that's very important. Then there's sometimes that we have a controlled end that we create, and it's not good. Every time there's something in front of us that we can advance in, we end it. We end the steps toward that goal. We end by not doing what we're supposed to do. We end through procrastination. We end through latency and waiting. We're bringing an end to things through the things that stop us from doing what we should do. So that still is a controlled end because you decided to do that. That's a choice. So we want to make sure that even with this controlled end, there's a good side to it, and there's a bad side to it. One is taking control of my life, right? And one is limiting my life. It's causing my life to not be able to grow, right? Then the uncontrolled end, things we can't control, right? You know, sometimes we find out something from a doctor and we have to stop eating a certain way, and it has to come to an end. That was not in our control. Sometimes we got informed that a job let us go. That end came, not in our control. So these are different times, different ways of considering end. And it's so fascinating that when you have respect for this word end, you learn how to take every single moment in your life seriously. Because this word exists, because this condition exists, because end is real. We have to really begin to operate and think differently about what's in front of us. Now, I want you to consider something that, how we begin to deal with things when they're in front of us. So some of us, let me get another screen here. So when we're in a situation, we're going to be talking about this a lot today, and we are confronted, right? We are confronted with opportunity, right? So everything starts when I'm confronted with an opportunity. Now, we always have this situation, right? Where, we have this thought pattern here where we're thinking about, do I say yes? Do I say no? And this is a critical point. It is always easier to say no to an opportunity, right? Because no requires no change, right? When I say no to an opportunity, everything stays the same, right? When I say yes, it requires change, right? And we think about risk, right? As well as opportunity. So the opportunity that's in front of us, it could go good, it could not go good. So we think about that side of it, right? We think about both. Now, we have been conditioned more times than not that it is easier to say no. Because why? Sometimes you've heard me talk about the comfort zone, and we have been conditioned to really be more comfortable doing the things that we understand and know and that are safe. So this is a very, very damaging element to how we could approach things, because we have a first tendency to think about what could go wrong and what problems could be. So no is always the one that stands out. But it is in this condition of saying no all the time that keeps a person from growing. Now, I want you to understand something. I'm not suggesting that, I'm not one of these yes men that say yes to everything, say yes to the universe, say yes to whatever, right? I don't know if y'all remember this movie. I think it was called Yes Man or something. I don't know. I remember Jim Carrey was in it, and there was a scene in there, and this guy was doing a motivational talk. I don't know if y'all remember that. And he was just saying, say yes. And everybody was saying, yes. And they were just running in the auditorium, yes, yes. And I think in the movie, he just starts saying yes to everything, right? And we know that there's a balance in what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just saying yes because of saying yes. I'm not talking about just being a positive person. I'm talking about that your ability to recognize when there's an opportunity in front of you that is worthy of yes. Now, what this means is, I want to add a little caveat to this word opportunity, is that we must be able to recognize opportunity. Everybody doesn't have the same eyes. Everyone can't see the opportunity. They just see the situation. They see the requests. They see the price. They see the time. They see what it's going to take to do it. They see what it could mean to their comfort zone, but they don't see and recognize the opportunity. So sometimes we don't realize the things that are around our life right now, the people we know, the things we have access to, the amount of opportunity that surrounds us if we just open our eyes. I talk to young people all the time, and, I just want to shake them sometimes because they don't realize what's around them, what's available to them. I work in different communities, especially in church communities, where there's all kinds of things available, people, resources, mentors, and you try to surround different ones with things. You say, look, it's all here, but they keep, walking right by those things, not seeing what's possible, not seeing what's available. And we all can begin to do this. You can be sitting in a company, in a job, having access to things, and then later you're gone. And you realize, my God, I was right by this person. I was right next to this situation. I could have asked more questions. I could have got more things. I could have paid closer attention to this, right? So these are critical things that you will later look back and say, did I get everything out of that I should have? Why? Because I didn't recognize the opportunity. This is critical. Just being able to recognize it. You can be in a new job or surrounded by all kinds of stuff. You can be in a situation right now in your life that you don't realize you have access to people or places or information or things that is so vital to who you can become later, but you don't see it that way. It's just another day to you. It's just another job. It's just another person. You don't really see what is there. So this is one of the big things. We're talking about Carpe Diem, right? Seizing the moment, capturing the time, not allowing it to pass you by. Now, if you're just getting here, I see some of you that are here live with me. Make sure that you like and subscribe and comment and share so more people can hear about these wonderful things we're talking about and being the seal of our life. And one of the critical things is not letting opportunity pass us by, because everything comes to an end. Everything stops at some point. Everything is over at some point. So you got to make those things count. And you don't have to take my word for it. Think about your own life, right? Think about things you used to do. Think about things that you used to enjoy that maybe you can't do anymore. Maybe you got older, you can't play that sport like you used to. Maybe you can't, you're not able to connect with that person who is not in your life anymore. You never know how things will change. So every single day, you have to think differently about what's available, what the opportunity is, right? Very, very critical. Now, something that I want you to think about when we deal with this opportunity, another thing that begins to hit us, and I always like to bring up the brain, right? Let me give me another brain on here. I like doing the left and right side of our brain here. And we also, we have this issue where fear comes up, right? So when we have an opportunity, a lot of times fear comes up in some of us, right? We think about what could actually go wrong. if I take this opportunity, what's going to happen? So there's a sense of fear in a weird way and excitement, right? It's a little bit of both. I got some fear and I got some excitement when I think about an opportunity. So once you've been trained to recognize opportunity, the next phase we go through is I have some fear there because I'm wondering, will it go the way I think it will go? Because I can't guarantee the future of anything. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So there's some fear there as well as excitement. They begin to dwell together in how my brain begins to function and the things that I feel, right? Start to feel some fear. So it's a fearful excitement or an excited fear, right, that I begin to feel. And the key is what's so great about the brain is fear begins to release adrenaline. And adrenaline can act as a form of energy, right? And that energy can be translated to fuel if I allow it to. And that fuel can be translated to action. I hope y'all just seen that and how we went from fear to fuel, right? This is a real thing. We talk about this a lot in URCO, and I want you to understand this. I'm taking fear, and, I can tell you as an athlete, as someone who has done a lot in the business world, someone who has, been able to accomplish a lot of things, that there's never been a time there wasn't a little bit of fear there, right? There's a little bit of fear with a healthy fear that we should all have. Those little butterflies, it's a good thing. You learn when you get more mature and seasoned about how to have Carpe Diem, how to seize the day. You start to learn how to take that adrenaline, that feeling, and then transform it into fuel and turn that fuel into the thing that helps you do the thing that you thought you were afraid of, that you thought you couldn't do. You begin to all at once begin to walk into that fear, turn it into something else, and you begin to speak and use that fear now to turn into adrenaline, that turn into fuel, that turn into action. Now I begin to act upon it. I'm starting to do that thing. I'm starting to walk into that new position, with my posture strong and with some courage there because I've channeled it the right way. I'm starting to have that conversation. I'm starting to make that request to that person who can help me. I'm starting to be willing to go and get out there and sell my product. Because I believe in my product, I have to go out. Someone gave me an opportunity to come to their place and have a talk. I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stop thinking about what could go wrong. I'm going to seize the moment, seize the day, grab it, right? Grab the opportunity because I'm not allowing fear to be able to do that. So this is a very important thing. We talk about channeling that fear, right, in a different way. I hope you can really see that. It's very, very, very important. We talk about channeling. Now, let me say this too as we talk about seize the day. And we talk about Carpe Diem. And keep in mind, Carpe Diem is a Latin word, right? And diem, this is the day. And carpe, to seize, to take control, right? So we are seizing the day. Now, but I want you to think about something a little bit, though, when we think about this. Now, there's two things that we have to really acknowledge about life, okay? And we talked about it a little bit earlier, right? There's the things we can't control, right? And there's the things we can control. So when you think about this, and what we can't control, we need to exercise patience. right? What we can control, we need to have action. So understand this. When we talk about carpe diem meaning to seize the day, seize the moment, seize the opportunity. But we have to acknowledge that in life, there are things we can't control. You can say, I want to seize the moment. Well, you can't. That's not under your control. So it's no use of you trying to think about what type of action I can take and getting frustrated because you can't take action and, staying up all night thinking and worrying and all that instead of just be patient with that. Put that in patient mode. I'll wait. I'll wait until I have an opportunity. I'll wait till there's a chance to deal with that, to fix that, to be able to move into that. But the things that I can control, we spend too much time thinking about what we can't control. And then don't take action on what we can control. So what we can control, and we have to begin to understand, I should have a list of things that I know I can control that are around me right now, that are available to me right now, that is possible right now, and I'm moving to action because I realize everything has an end. There's not any time to waste because everything has an end, including us, right? Every single day. It's one day closer to having no more days on this planet as we know it today. Every day, every single day, think about it. It's one less day you have on this planet. That's how we have to approach the things that are really important, things that are around us right now, right? Think about it. Every single day, the sun rises up, right? And it goes all the way up, gets to its highest point at noon, and then it begins to go down. Did you know from noon, back in the Bible times, the days were measured by the sundial. Everything was by the sundial. And when you consider the sundial, now you actually begin from noon. As soon as you get to, let's say 12 o'clock noon and 1 second, evening really has started. The sun is headed toward evening, right? The day is over. We're just moving toward it slowly until, around 6 o'clock or so. And now the sun is all the way down and we say it's nighttime, right? Or it's fully evening. But think about it. From that point, the day, it rose and it's starting to fall from that point. This process happens every single day. And as it happens every single day, we have to consider there is no time to waste because of how this process is always happening no matter what we do, and you will never have that day back. You will never get that time back. Time is something that is not it's not something you can get back. Money, you can lose and get it back. But time, you can't, right? What are we talking about today? Carpe diem. Seize the day. Seize the moment, right? Stop thinking that you can allow just life to move forward and just to happen unintentionally with no thought of what you want to control and what you want it to do, what you want to use it for, right? So are you intentional about your life, or are you just reacting to life? Are you just reacting to what happens? Are you reacting to what's going on in your job? Are you reacting to your career? Are you reacting to your health? Are you reacting to the situations that come around you? Are you intentional? Are you intentional about where you're going, what you're trying to do, and why? Because you'll never have that day again to be intentional with it. You got some power. The fact that you can wake up every single day as a CEO of your life and choose what you want to do. What did you do with that opportunity every day? Every day. What did you do with it? How intentional were you? So, now, something I want you to understand, this is a very important point, so I'm going to write it on a fresh board here. We must qualify to seize the day. All right? So we must qualify to seize the day. So we've been talking about seizing the day, seizing the moment. We're talking about Carpe Diem here. But I want you to think for a minute that if you're not qualified and an opportunity comes, you can't seize the moment because you're not ready. So when we talk about Carpe Diem, we talk about seize the day, it doesn't just mean take advantage of opportunity, it means to be ready for that opportunity. So this is why we can't waste time watching too much television, being on social media for too long, wasting time being distracted with entertainment and watching other people be successful instead of developing our own skills, investing in our own programs, doing things that grow our skill base, that cause us to move into mastery about something in life, something that makes us better so when opportunity does come, we're ready for it, right? You can't seize the day unless you qualify. So what are we talking about? Being prepared, growing your skills, being alert, making sure you're becoming the things that can attract the things that you want. Before I can be hired for a particular job, I got to become the person that's hireable, because of the skills and experience that I've begun to put into myself, right? So we have to make sure we're taking the time to qualify to seize the day. Some people say, well, I don't get a lot of opportunity. No, it's not that you don't get a lot of opportunity. You're not qualified for a lot of opportunity. No one will, I wish I could make money like that person. Yeah, that person qualified to make that money though. They put some work in. They was reading some books. They went into some programs. They was at that event. They spent some time studying and learning and mastering. They didn't read that book once. They read it 5 times, right? They took time to come to environments like this that pushed them to be better. They put their money where their mouth was. They stopped saying it's too expensive and I can't afford to. They start saying I can't afford not to. And learning how to invest in themselves. Seize the day. Seize the opportunity. Stop putting yourself in a lower class of being incapable instead of a higher class of being utterly and insurmountably capable and able to do the things that are in front of you because you are spending time getting prepared. I think about in my personal life, times that I've had Carpe Diem moments. I want you to think about that for a minute, right? Carpe Diem moments. What were some of your Carpe Diem moments? I remember a time I was having a very difficult moment in my life, a lot of domestic violence in my home. I had an opportunity to go and stay with some godparents, and I chose to do that. Carpe Diem. Changed the trajectory of my life forever. I saw another way that I could potentially be in my life, and I wanted to be better. Carpe Diem. I wanted to have a chance to grow and get out of certain environments that weren't healthy for me at that stage of my life. Carpe Diem. When I got behind because of my education and things I went through as a kid, and I ended up in high school, and I had to catch up, and I wanted to go to college, but to go, I was going to have to go to summer school and take trigonometry and other classes that I didn't want to take because I was a little bit behind. I could have took that summer off. It meant I was going to graduate on a Saturday and start summer school on a Monday, the Monday right after graduation. I could have said I'll wait, but instead, I went ahead and went to summer school. I knocked it out, and it allowed me to get to college early and to graduate early with my 4-year degree. Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem. Seize the day. I remember when I was in college, there was a guest speaker that came from Toyota, and he was asking, I wasn't even finished with my year of school, but he was asking if anyone was interested in doing an internship. Yes, it was a little scary. Yes, I didn't know if I was qualified. I didn't know how I would do, but I took advantage of that opportunity and it launched my career at Toyota. Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem. While I was at Toyota, I hadn't even been there. Hadn't even been there for 6 months good. I was told Akio Toyoda was going to be there, the president, the grandson of the founder of the company. Everyone knew he was going to be the president. Everyone knew how great that this individual was. I didn't even know. Here I am, fresh out of school in my early 20s. Michael, will you give them the presentation? We'll tell you what to say. We know you haven't been here long, but we feel like you can do well, and we want to show your ability to give this presentation. We think you're the best one to do it, and it'll be, in that way, none of us have to do it because they was kind of scared. We'll put the new guy on it. And I said, you know what? I'll give the presentation. Show me what to do, and I'll do it. Carpe diem. Carpe diem. I could have said no. I could have waited. A little bit after that, here a few weeks later, he said there's something special about that young man. There's something different about that young man. I want him to be a part of a special team sent to Japan, just one of 7 from North America to be trained in lean management. I get a knock on my door from the executive team asking me, will I go to Japan next week? I had never been out of the country. I had never flown for 16 hours. I had never been to a country where I couldn't speak the language, but I said I will go, and they gave me a letter written in Japanese. And the next thing you know, I was on a plane to Toyota City, Japan. Carpe diem. Carpe diem. Then, after going through that, ended up going all around North America. Don't forget being in Bolingbrook, Illinois, where they were surrounded by all kinds of executives. And the person who was supposed to give a key presentation to all the executives, his grandmother died, so he couldn't give the presentation. They asked Michael, will you do it? Even though you haven't had time to study it, we'll give you tonight, you can study, but in the morning, we need you to give the presentation. All the executives are here. Somebody has to give it. I said, I'll give it. I'll do it. Carpe diem. And what happened? I got on the fast track. I got more notoriety, and I grew and grew. And then when the opportunity came, because I got so much skill and so much opportunity and growth, when it was time for me to really start my own company, years later, I was able to step away and use what I learned to start my own business for the first time over 2 decades ago. I stepped out even though I had some fear there, even though I didn't know how it would go, even though I was walking away from my dream job. I knew there was something in me that was destined to be an entrepreneur, so I walked away and did it anyway. Carpe diem. Carpe diem. I can go on, but I hope you see the point. Do you seize the day? Do you seize the opportunity? Are you awake to what's around you? Or are you just living? This is what we're talking about. Carpe diem. Seize the day. Seize the moment. Now, I want to leave you with something before I let you go. And here's something. I want you to remember this. Stop saying, I will do it later. Stop saying that. Every second matters. See it that way. I must be prepared, right? Stop wasting time. Stop spending so much time on things, scrolling on TikTok, watching stupid stuff that don't add value to you. There's a time for that sometime. We all need a mind break sometime, but don't get overwhelmed with it. Seize the day. Carpe diem. Your life is passing by. What you could do, what you could become, it's in front of you. Zoom towards the opportunity. That means to move fast. Stop doubting, stop waiting, stop questioning. Stop talking yourself out of opportunity. Stop letting time get in the way. Stop letting money get in the way. Invest in your future. Invest in your mind. You're the most precious thing that you have. Zoom towards opportunity. Everything is now when you keep moving. All right? Everything is now. When you keep moving, though. What do I mean by that? Let me show you what I mean. This is you. Here's an opportunity. Right? This opportunity came at 2 o'clock. Now, it's 2:01. 2:02, right? And as you move forward in that opportunity, you're moving into now, right? Because now is always moving. Like, that's why now is really hard to keep up with, because everything is past. Like, as soon as I said past, that's in the past, right? Past, it's in the past. Now is already later, right? Right? Why? Because the clock is moving. So when I move towards what I'm supposed to be doing, an opportunity, I'm in now. I'm in Carpe Diem. I'm seizing the moment. Now, when I stand still, right, go this way, same thing. 2:01, 2:02. Why? Now, here's the past. Here's the present. Right? I hope you can see what I'm saying now, that everything is now if you keep moving. If you keep moving, right? So we have to realize this, and some of you need to make a change to move to get where you're supposed to be. As Dr. King once said, he who gets behind in a race must forever remain behind or run faster than the man in front. So make sure you have not been doing what you're supposed to do. Pick up the pace. It's time to seize the day. Carpe Diem. I'm Michael Lee Parker. I hope you enjoyed this session. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. You know somebody that needs to hear this. They need to seize the day. They need to seize the moment. And they need to understand what the word means, Carpe Diem. And so help spread the word about this channel. Make sure you continue to grow as the CEO of your life. I look forward to seeing you next time as we go deeper into understanding why we all must be the CEO of our success and our future. And we're going to do it with a spirit and focus of seizing the day. Until next time, I'll see you soon.